What's going on, everybody? I'm Taylor, this is FTR, and today's vlog we're going to be going over the tri-stripe gene. This is going to be a video that's kind of all over the place because I still think there's a lot of tri-stripe knowledge that we haven't found out everything that's going along with the gene, and that's just based off what I'm seeing here. You guys will see more of that as the video goes on because I have some animals that I just can't explain what they are looking like and what they actually should be. Everything that I'm going to show you is either 100% het tri-stripe or a visual tri-stripe. Most of it's all came kind of from the same line, so there will be some back and forth of like what it actually could be, but we pretty sure we have most of the genetics down pat for our tri-stripe, and it's just a matter of kind of showing what we're seeing so that maybe other people can help us along the way, because we don't know everything about tri-stripe. I'm definitely not saying that I'm a genetic wizard when it comes to tri-stripe. I'm pretty good at IDing stuff, but at the end of the day, you can always learn, and I do think everyone gets stuff wrong. So if you guys think that what I'm seeing is different than what you guys think things could be that I'm going to show, make sure you guys leave a comment or inbox me. I'm glad to take criticism, and I'm glad to go back and forth on ideas of what's actually going on with some of the tri-stripe stuff. So we're going to jump into it. Again, let's get right into it, and here we go. So I thought the only proper way to start off this video is to show off a tri-stripe. So this is your typical normal tri-stripe. This is one of our boys. You can see the tri-stripe starts a couple inches back from the head, works its way all the way down, and then for the majority of tri-stripes, about at the 75% of the way down mark, it kind of blows out the pattern and reduces. You get this really reduced looking look to it. That's a majority of the tri-stripes. Of course, there's a variance of all of them, so you can have ones that go all the way, you can have ones that kind of stop partially, and that's what's really throwing us off, because sometimes it can be hard to identify what's a visual tri-stripe without any testing, because if you have hets that are doing this same pattern kind of certain areas and then it stops, it's like, well, is that a visual? Is it a het? So you'll see some of our animals as we go along of why we get a little bit confused with things. But this is your typical tri-stripe look. No other genes at play here, just normal tri-stripe. And this is kind of what we're going to be building off here in the video as we go through. You get some really nice whites coming up with the tri-stripes, and as I'll show you some hets as well, you get these really nice whites. But this is kind of our starting point for today. This next boy that we're going to show off is a special 100% het tri-stripe. So you can see the first portion of his pattern almost looks like a visual tri-stripe. It's got the 1, 2, 3 lines, not starting right at the back of the head, but kind of a couple inches down. And then it comes down about, I would say on this one, it's about quarter of the way down his pattern before it breaks into like a normal pattern, and then it comes back to like almost tri-stripe again. And then the tail, which on a lot of tri-stripes, the tail kind of goes back normal anyways. And then again, really, really nice whites coming up in the pattern here. Pretty much every het tri-stripe that we have, I don't know if it's a lineage thing or what it is, but almost all of our het tri-stripes have this really, really nice white pattern coming through. And then he's got a really cool, like, if I were to just take a picture of this portion of the animal, like most people could say, oh, looking like tri-stripe. And then you get down to the rest of the pattern where it's like, no, psych, it's going back to a normal pattern. This male is going to be one of our breeders. He's getting up to size here for us, but wanted to show him off just because it's that kind of partial tri-stripe look to it. Super, super nice animal though. He's gorgeous looking. Can't wait to get babies from him. So this next animal here is one of the animals that kind of threw us for a loop this past season. So this here is what is supposed to be an Enchi lesser, 100% het tri-stripe, 100% het hypo. This boy is an absolute stunning animal, first off. Like, you get these crazy, that the camera's trying to pick it up, these crazy white flaring up the sides, which I'm seeing with a lot of het tri-stripe stuff. This one's got the crazy, super elongated patterns that you would think a visual tri-stripe would get. Not saying that this is a visual, but this is a very, very visual het, if that makes sense. So this is going to be one of the animals that kind of really threw us for a whirl when it came out. And the main reason it did isn't as much because of what it looks like, but it's what its siblings look like. So this here is what I believe to be the same thing, but not, like, in quotations, visual version of it. This is what I think is also Enchi lesser. And I do have one more, but she's currently in shed. So these two have the same coloring. They have kind of that same crazy white that's coming up the sides, but you can tell that these just aren't the same looking animal, but I think that these have the same genetics. Very banded on this one from the Enchi, and then it's kind of being a ball python. But it's got a super nice dorsal stripe, but just not the same as what this is giving with its that stretch, like that fat dorsal stripe with the kind of blotchy pattern that's coming through it, and then the really high sides. This isn't like a tri-stripe, but this is a very nice dorsal striped animal. So these are two of the animals that we produced this last year that kind of gave us a whirlwind when they hatched out. This next one is just about to go into shed, so the coloring is a little bit off, but the reason I wanted to show this one is because you get that really elongated, stretched out pattern. This is from the same clutch that the Enchi lesser het tri-stripe was from, and you can see this one super stretched out, elongated, almost like a tri-stripe pattern trying to come in. And then again, the really, really high whites coming up the sides here. This one here is just a male normal, essentially, double het tri-stripe hypo. This will probably be a holdback, just for a backup male as of right now. He's eating really well, so I'll probably keep him as a holdback, just as a backup male to the Enchi lesser double het, because it's better to have one or two backups in a project like this where we're going to be going pretty heavy on it. So yeah, just wanted to show this guy because this is another one of those animals that's just showing the tri-stripe as almost a visual as a het. Like, you could pick this out if you know what you're looking. Like, if you don't know that this is a het tri-stripe, this could look like a lot of different normals. So I don't want people to think that, like, oh, you can start picking out het tris out of every single possible clutch in the world. Like, that's not what we're trying to get at. But just trying to show off what we're seeing when we produce 100% het tri-stripes and how we're getting these little indications of what they actually look like. So really, really nice boy. And this is from a different clutch, but this is kind of so you can see just the other side of that Enchi lesser that we showed. This is just an Enchi het tri-stripe. So we do get some animals that are just normal looking copies of whatever gene they are. This looks like a typical Enchi. The only thing I would say is that this has those really nice white sides coming up. You can see right there, it's really, really nice flaming coming up the sides. That I've noticed, again, on most tri-stripe, 100% het tri-stripe stuff, is you get this white stuff that's coming up on the outside of the pattern that comes from up from the belly. So just this here is just an Enchi 100% het tri-stripe. This next one is another example of just a normal looking snake that is 100% het tri-stripe. This is a banana. This is my male. We also have a female that looks exactly the same as this, but he wants to bite me right now. There was rats in the room earlier, so some of the animals are a little bit feisty today. Really hard to pick up bananas on the camera, but if I get a little bit closer, that's a little bit better. So this is a banana, 100% het tri-stripe. Again, a little bit of the whites coming up on the pattern coming from the belly, but pretty typical, normal banana looking animal. Again, 100% het tri-stripe. So this is the girl that really started getting us to scratch our heads. If I showed this snake to anybody and said, what gene do you think that this is? Without the pairing, you should be able to tell, oh, that's probably a tri-stripe. And if you did, you would be wrong, because unless we've been getting extremely lucky with where stuff has been coming from, and we have hets in the collection that we don't know about, this should be a normal ball python, essentially. This girl is not wanting to cooperate, but she is just a double het tri-stripe clown. No other genes. She was a tri-stripe paired to a female clown. And with that being said, she should be a normal ball python, and she should just be having hets. But that's not the case. This looks like a visual tri-stripe. It has the tri-stripe pattern starting just back of the neck, like normal tri-stripes do. Ooh, she's being crazy. The patterning that's going all the way 3/4 away down the pattern, then breaking out, getting the washed out look near the tail. She's very frisky today. But this is what a tri-stripe animal looks like. You get the crazy whites, you get those kind of sectioned off side patternings coming up. You can see it really good on this side. Section off side pattern coming up here. But this is one of the animals that got us really, really thinking, like, do we really know enough about tri-stripe to say that, like, I don't even want to be the guy that says that it's not recessive, because I do believe it's recessive. I think it's been around long enough that we know it's a recessive. And then, again, unless we're getting extremely lucky in the sense of, like, we've purchased animals that are just happen to be het tri-stripe, and now we're producing tri-stripe visuals when they shouldn't be, because we have essentially everything that I'm showing today is only came from a handful of females, probably 5 females, and I'm using essentially the same male for all of them and getting the same results with 5 different females. So it's not like we're using the same 2 snakes and we're producing like look-alike tri-stripes. We're doing it in multiple different clutches, and the male that we're using is making all of these visual animals, and he is just a tri-stripe. And no, it's not parthenogenetics, because I've produced males and females. So not everything is coming out a female and not everything is coming out a male. So it's not, I think it's androgenesis when it's the male kind of double copying and making his own babies without the female's genetics. And it's not parthenogenetics where it's just using the female copies. One being said, because if that was the case, this should just be a clown. And 2, it's a female, so it's not androgenesis. I think, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So there's no way that this is like a non-fertile animal in the sense of like from Partho or something like that. This should just be a double het tri-stripe clown. And obviously you can see it is not, this looks fully visual as visual you can get with tri-stripe. So one of the animals that has really, really stumped us, and we're just trying to figure out what's going on. And one of the animals that we're going to absolutely be testing for tri-stripe as soon as the test comes out. So I want to show off this girl because this is one that kind of goes off the beaten path for like your typical het tri-stripe. This here is a red stripe het tri-stripe. Don't get it twisted. That's a mouthful to say when you're not really thinking about it. So red stripe, het tri-stripe. This is a female holdback that we have. She does not really have the white patterning coming up on the sides. So it's not what we usually see with the hets. She is 100% het. She came from our male tri-stripe. So I know she's 100% het tri-stripe. And aside from that, she's just a regular red stripe. She was just super simple pairing, tri-stripe to red stripe. Made some hets to keep back. So we have this, and we have a male that is going to be getting up to size here for breeding soon. Both kind of the exact same look, and it's not really that white coming up the side. So I don't know if the red stripe is just hiding that. I'm really excited to see like a super red stripe tri-stripe. We're also doing some pairings for some combination red stripe, tri-stripe special kind of animals. Not special, well, they are special, but also special to Jean. But yeah, just wanted to show her off because she's a little bit different than your typical het from what we're seeing. Wanted to show this girl off because she's just a really nice example of when you pick good animals to work with, you get good results. This is just a straight Mojave 100% het tri-stripe girl. She's going to be one of our holdbacks just to play around. I'm trying not to do just a whole bunch of bell type animals with tri-stripe, but just the stock that we purchased, it just came with a lot of bell animals. So we're going to be working with it just to see what it is, but we're not going to be focusing on it too much. But really super nice girl. She does have a little bit of the whites coming up. There is a little bit more to her potentially. There's a gene that was floating around here in Canada that people were calling electric. It came from Chris Towers. He kind of had tri-stripe going through his collection, and electric is what he was calling, from my knowledge, like the het type of animals, which ended up being this kind of look and then having the het tri-stripe there as well. So I'm not labeling anything electric, but it kind of, there is a possibility of that floating around as well. It could be just a line bred trait. It could be something that's a little bit more intense, kind of enhancer type pattern, not enhancer like Desert Ghost, but just an enhancer gene, kind of like a piggyback gene. Because she doesn't look like a normal Mojave. She's a lot lighter than a normal Mojave, and she's a lot brighter in these deep black or browns, I guess, with Mojaves that you get. But she's a super nice looking animal, and we do have 1.3 of her. We potentially will let some of the females go because we don't need 3 of them. But yeah, potentially if anyone's looking for some Mojave 100% het tri-stripe animals, I'll probably sell the male and 1 or 2 of the females. I hate to do this video today because I would love to show this boy off not in shed, but I have to show him in the sense of the video because, again, tri-stripe visual animal that should not be a visual. This is a yellow belly, 100% het tri-stripe. That is it. Should only be that. Again, sorry that he's in shed, but this looks super, super visual tri-stripe. Not going 3/4 of the way down, but going, I would say 66% of the way down the pattern, maybe 50% or 60%. You're getting that crazy tri-stripe side, patterning starting just behind the head, just like all the other animals. Getting the tri-stripe look all the way through. And again, another animal that we will be testing as soon as the test comes out, because this should just be a typical yellow belly with nothing else in there. And we have essentially a visual tri-stripe. Thanks for watching, guys. As you can see, we have a lot of head scratching clutches from the past few years, and we have a lot of head scratching stuff to go over with tri-stripe. I'm so patiently waiting for the tri-stripe test to come out in the world, but especially here in Canada, so that we can start testing our animals, so that we know, are we looking at visuals? Do I need to test all the females that have been producing these clutches? What's going on? Again, if anybody else is seeing stuff like this, when you're producing from a visual tri-stripe to a female that should not be het tri-stripe, producing these visual type animals, please reach out, leave a comment, drop me an inbox on any platform. If you have my text me, or give me a shout. I would love to chat about this and figure out what exactly is going on from other people. And if not, then we're gonna just wait for the test, and we're gonna start testing all of our tri-stripe stuff and het tri-stripe stuff. And we're also going to be testing females that should not be het tri-stripe to see if they are het tri-stripe. So thank you guys so much for watching. It was a little bit longer of a video, but it was a video I've been wanting to make for a very long time based on everything we're seeing. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. Share this one to all of your friends, if not any of our other videos, but I want to make awareness of the tri-stripe stuff and what we're seeing. So share this to everybody you know that loves tri-stripe or that wants to get into tri-stripe, because I think there's so much to do with the project, and I think that this could be something that like tri-stripe has so much room to grow still. There's so little that have been done, and it's been around for so long. So thank you guys for watching. Check you guys next time, and have a great day.